Every romantic tale starts with a vow, a pledge of eternity, of creating a future together, of supporting one another through all difficulties. What occurs, though, if that promise is broken? What occurs when your world collapses because of the person you believe to be your soulmate and the one you trusted the most? Here is Jay's untold story. Pamela and Emmanuel Chavez. They appeared to be the ideal couple. Dazzling, endearing, loved by friends, and coveted by many. They appeared to have unbreakable smiles. Their ties appeared predestined to endure forever. But their love was being questioned behind closed doors. Everything they had created together would soon be destroyed by family conflicts, unspoken debts, and covert affairs. On August 25, 2025, Jay and Pamela formally separated due to family conflicts. Finally, because Anna agreed to pay off Jay, Emmanuel married her secret girlfriend Anna. Emmanuel's $1 million secret debt. Jamuel made the decision to wed her and Jay. Pamela Chavez is divorced by Emmanuel. For the past year, Jay, Manuel and Emma have been secretly involved in a romantic relationship. Jay Manuel was not the only person who claimed to have seen him multiple times in various places. He was with Emma, his covert lover. This is not merely a love story. It's about money, betrayal, and decisions that have the power to permanently ruin a life. The complete story of Jay and Pamela, from their dazzling start to their tragic demise and the ensuing scandal, is about to be told, so buckle up. Before the mayhem, before the rumors of treachery, before the darkness of, there was love despite financial disaster. True, unquestionable love. Jay, aspiring, captivating, and unendingly self-assured, Emmanuel was a rising star. Any room could be illuminated by his charm. And from the first time they met, Pamela Chavez was enthralled. She was more than just pretty. Jay's fire was counterbalanced by her warmth. It was like instant electricity, friends said of their bond. Their romance quickly grew. Conversations continued into the early hours of the morning. Weekend retreats became treasured recollections. And shortly, Jay grew inseparable from Pamela. They were the type of pair that people thought had it all when they looked at them. At first, Jay was loved by Pamela's family. He was gregarious, usually smiling, and full of aspirations for the future. He talked of his desire to have a family, build a home, and lead a successful and contented life. Pamela took it all seriously. Their romance progressed quickly. They had even been discussing marriage within a year. During romantic dinners, Jay would grasp Pamela's hand across the table, making her a fairy tale-like promise of a forever. And it was, in many respects, they had an absolutely amazing wedding. A lavish gathering featuring music, laughter, and copious amounts of champagne. Friends and family flocked from all directions to see what appeared to be the start of an ideal marriage. Jay's fitted suit made him look dapper. Pamela's smile was more radiant than the lights in the ballroom, and she shone in her gown. Everything appeared to be ideal for a time. They were admired by their social group. Their love appeared strong, and pictures showed countless grins. They created an unbreakable image of pleasure together. However, little fissures started to appear over time. There were cracks nobody wanted to acknowledge. Whispered arguments behind closed doors. Tensions within the family that become more noticeable each month. As well as secrets. Secrets they were both unwilling to confront. Because although Jay and Pamela had a wonderful beginning, it was merely the beginning of a tale that would eventually fall apart into controversy, treachery, and heartache. Every marriage faces difficulties. However, the issue for Jay and Pamela began earlier than anyone anticipated. The dispute first appeared to be innocuous. Disagreements over routine household tasks, vacation expenses, or even family get-togethers. But gradually, those minor disagreements started to accumulate, one brick at a time, creating an imperceptible barrier between them. Pamela was raised in a close-knit household. Her life was greatly influenced by her parents, brothers, and relatives, who provided guidance. On every choice she made, she occasionally gave too much counsel. Jay, however, cherished his independence. He wished to keep their marriage private and unhindered. However, Jay was not entirely trusted by Pamela's family. They were impressed by his charm. Yes, but rumors circulate behind closed doors. He spins around too much. He never stops striving for greater goals. Is he capable of caring for her? During a family dinner, the stress boiled over. When Pamela's father asked Jay about his professional goals, Jay felt squeezed. What comes next? For you, Jay. How are you going to support Pamela should things go hard in the future? Jay gave the table a courteous grin, but his heart was blazing with bitterness. He was not interested in being questioned. Not in that manner. The fight broke out after they got home. Pamela spoke up for her father, claiming that he simply had her best interests in mind. Jade claimed that Pamela had abandoned him. This cycle continued over and over. Family get-togethers turned into battlefields. Pamela struggled to decide whether to be loyal to her husband or her family. He sensed isolated as like he could never really fit in with Pamela's world, no matter how hard he tried. Their marital fissures were no longer imperceptible. They waited for the day when everything would finally break, deadly and sharp. Family conflicts weren't the only issue though. Jay was hiding something. Something Pamela was unaware of. A secret that will cost him everything in the future. Jay was drowning in debt, despite his polished appearance and self-assured smile. Not only a little sum, but an incredible $1. He had meticulously concealed the $1 million debt from Pamela. Years ago it began. Jay had made investments in ventures that failed despite their lofty returns. Friends, business associates, and even discreet private lenders had given him loans. The whole simply got worse each time he assured himself, "I'll fix it. I'll turn it around." Jay lived over his means in order to maintain appearances. Expensive meals, pricey outfits, and opulent vacations are all financed by loans. Pamela thought. Although they were prospering, Jay was actually playing a risky financial game. Pamela initially noted little details. A business trip that didn't add up, a credit card bill that seemed more than anticipated. Her inquiries were dismissed by Jay with slick justifications. "It's only a temporary situation. Don't stress over it. I got things under control." But Pamela had a gut feeling that something wasn't right. Although she lacked evidence, she could feel the darkness encroaching on their marriage. Every day Jay's worry increased. In private he grinned, but in public he gazed at the figures that defied calculation. He had too many debts, and those debtors weren't the patient type. Jay will soon have to make a decision as the walls closed in. Either tell Pamela his secret or find another way to get out from under the crushing weight of his debt. The light always finds its way to secrets. Furthermore, Jay's $1 million secret was too significant to remain a secret indefinitely. First, it happened slowly. Pamela observed unexpected phone calls and individuals contacting her at strange times. Jay, who is usually so composed and self-assured, started to get restless. He would leave the room to take calls, his sentences clipped and his tone severe. Pamela discovered a note hidden in Jay's study one evening. It was neither a business contract nor a love letter. It was a formal notice from a private lender requesting that a sizable amount be repaid. As she read the numbers, her hands shook. Due to the hundreds of thousands due the threat of legal action in the event that payment was delayed. Jay finally broke his facade when she confronted him. He initially attempted to deflect. "It's only business. You have no idea how these agreements operate." Pamela, however, pressed harder, her voice trembling with rage. Jay finally spoke the truth. Under $1 million in debt, he was buried. Pamela's entire world fell apart. In an instant, the years of trust and the assurances of a safe future were gone. She found it incomprehensible that Jay would conceal something so enormous from her. "How come you didn't tell me? You lied to me, but why?" She made a demand. "Extend your elbows." Jay was unable to respond. More accurately, he had too many responses. They're all inadequate. Regarding He talked about chances that didn't work out, about people who deceived him, and about risks that didn't pay off. It didn't matter though. The betrayal was what counted. Pamela was embarrassed. In addition to Jay deceiving her, she now saw that their opulent way of life had been a meticulously crafted illusion. Every supper, every jewelry item, and every trip had all been purchased with borrowed funds. It was more than simply the debt for Pamela. Trust was at issue, and that trust was irreparably damaged. At first, Pamela tried to hang on. Marriage, she reminded herself, meant enduring hardships together. She wanted to think that Jay could make things better and that they could fix it. However, the altercations got worse. Every discussion involving money ended with yelling. Every family meal became a reminder that Jay had made the perfect choice for her parents. Pamela's health started to deteriorate. Unending worry, restless nights, and the sense that her life was spiraling out of control. Her shift was noticed by her friends. The formerly intelligent Pamela appeared worn out, troubled, and weighed down by unchosen secrets. Meanwhile, Jay's desperation increased. Rather than slowing down, he increased his wagers on novel schemes. He said, "One more deal," to Pamela. "Just one more and everything will be fine." Pamela had lost faith in him. A vicious dispute one evening was the tipping point. The words lingered thick in the air as Pamela, crying, yelled, "You didn't just lose money, Jay. You lost me." And they both knew the truth, even though they didn't express it aloud. Their union was over. The documentation officially made it official on August 25, 2025. Jay, Pamela Chavez and Emmanuel Chavez got divorced. Despite her scars, Pamela left with her pride intact. Jay left in freedom, yet accompanied by debts, secrets, and fresh schemes that would soon surprise everyone. Because although he had closed one chapter of his life, a new one was only getting started. August 25, 2025. A date that will always be remembered in Jay and Pamela's narrative. There were a lot of reporters, photographers, and interested bystanders in the courthouse. Rumors of their failing marriage had been in the newspapers for weeks. However, on this particular day, conjecture became reality. Jay, Pamela Chavez and Emmanuel Chavez were formally divorcing. Pamela showed up poised, but brittle. She was dressed simply in a black dress and exuded a serene elegance. Her eyes conveyed a tale of restless nights and unfulfilled vows. Her lawyer was standing next to her, a solid hand helping her navigate the turbulence. Jay showed up on his own. The sharpness of his suit, which he wore as usual, did not conceal the fatigue on his face. He made an effort to smile for the cameras, but it was a phony smile that fell short of his eyes. The atmosphere in the courtroom was tense. Pamela's lawyer detailed her complaints, including financial fraud, years of secrecy, and emotional betrayal. Although Jay's side promoted justice, everyone knew the truth in their hearts. Long before they entered that chamber, the harm had already been done. Pamela let out a loud breath as the judge signed the documents. She felt a wave of relief and sadness. Although she was free, her freedom had a price. A few legal paperwork had replaced years of sacrifice, love, and trust. Jay didn't view the divorce as merely an final. It was a reckoning too. His well-crafted facade as a loyal spouse had crumbled before the world. Jay, however, was already planning his next move rather than backing down. Because Jay was already considering another lady, someone who had been lurking in the background, while Pamela was lamenting the loss of their marriage. Anna was her name. She wasn't just another character in Jay's complex existence. She was sophisticated, cunning, and enigmatic. His lifeline was her. When they were alone, Jay and Anna had been dating for some months. It wasn't the fairy tale romance he once had with Pamela, nor was it love at first sight that brought them together. No, survival was the foundation of their relationship. Anna was aware of Jay's severe debt. She was familiar with the letters, the threats, and the statistics. In contrast to Pamela, who felt overpowered and deceived, Anna saw an opening. She gave Jay an escape route. The terms were unambiguous yet unspoken. She would settle his debt of $1 million. Back Jay would wed her. It was a startling suggestion. But it was also salvation for Jay. One choice could eliminate the burden of debt, the worry of becoming bankrupt, and the restless nights, and Jay made his selection. During the divorce proceedings, Pamela was never fully informed of the situation. Jay seemed to her like he was just leaving. In actuality, though, he was sprinting directly into Anna's embrace. A woman who is prepared to use her wealth to purchase his release. For Anna, the marriage was about more than love. It was concerning authority. She was aware of Jay's weakness, desperation, and willingness to accept anything. She believed that rescuing him from bankruptcy would bind him to her indefinitely. When it was eventually revealed that the world was shocked to learn that Emmanuel had divorced Pamela and was getting ready to wed Anna. How could a man suddenly move from heartbreak to another marriage? How could he have replaced Pamela, who had supported him for years, so fast? However, the world was unaware at the time that Anna was only a single piece of the puzzle. Because there was another woman waiting in the shadows. A woman. Just a few weeks following the signing of the divorce documents, once more, Emmanuel stunned the world. Headlines flooded news outlets. Anna will marry Emmanuel. Pamela is still in shock about her divorce. Is it a trade or love? There are concerns about Jay's recent marriage. It was unimaginable to many. How could a man who had recently left a failed marriage be organizing a second wedding? However, Jay's choice had little to do with love. Concerned. Survival. He had been promised a lifeline by Anna. She had consented to settle his enormous $1 million debt, relieving him of the burden that had been plaguing him for years. Jay gave her his name, his presence, and his hand in marriage in exchange for her requests. In contrast to the splendor of his previous marriage to Pamela, this one was intimate and private. There was no lengthy guest list of relatives and friends, and no glistening halls. Instead, only a small number of people attended the private event. Jay gave the cameras a smile. But he was deceived by his eyes. The smile had been rehearsed, practiced. On the other hand, Anna was radiant. Not with love, but with triumph. She had negotiated a deal with the man she desired. There were muttering misgivings behind the compliments. Was this a convenient marriage or one based on love? The reality was obvious to those who knew Jay well. This was not a happy marriage between two soulmates. It was a contract signed with vows and written in desperation. However, as the world observed Jay standing next to, another tale was slowly developing, Anna. A narrative that will further destabilize his already controversial life. Emma existed long before the vows with Anna. Jay has been quietly seeing her for the previous year. Jay couldn't help but be drawn to Emma's youthful, lively spirit. They were secretive, passionate, and risky in their relationship. Jay kept this secret even more carefully than his father did. In private, Emma was his escape, while in public, Anna was his salvation. Gave him something Anna couldn't. Passion without agreements. Love without restrictions. In their social circles, whispers started to circulate. Several people reported seeing Jay and Emma at fancy places. Come on. He wasn't by himself. They said that he was seeing an enigmatic woman who wasn't his spouse. It's hard to overlook their connection as they laugh and hold hands. These rumors were initially dismissed as gossip. However, the sightings became more common. Emma and Jay were seen at hotels and coffee shops, even late-night city trips and lobbies. Witnesses consistently vowed that there was no denying their familiarity. The romance was intoxicating for Emma. She was aware of Jay's problematic relationship with another lady and debt, but she didn't give a damn. She felt alive with Jay. Emma was a symbol of Jay's previous love for Pamela. Real, emotional, and raw, but free of the crippling burden of family strife or financial collapse. Naturally, the risk was that secrets are never truly hidden. With rumors circulating and paparazzi on the prowl, Jay's double existence was in danger of being discovered. The public would soon start to wonder why he had bound himself to Anna for financial gain when, deep down, Emma was the object of his devotion. Was Jay Emmanuel still secretly seeing Emma, or was he actually married to Anna? Whispers, silent discussions at parties, and half-spoken rumors at social events were all that existed at first. Last week, did you see Jay at that restaurant? He wasn't by himself. He was with her. Once more. Emma had stepped out of the background and onto the outskirts of Jay's public life. The two started taking more daring chances after growing tired of having hidden rendezvous. That's the tight one, all right. They ate at packed restaurants, went for late-night walks, and even made appearances in the same places as Anna's acquaintances. The scenes were vividly reported by witnesses. Emma and Jay sat side by side, hunched over laughing in secret. Jay touches her hand from the other side of the table. Emma's gaze on him. At one point, Pamela did so with unabashed love. The news immediately got out. The whispers were indisputable by the time the third or fourth person reported seeing them. Reporters started to circle with their cameras ready. As she watched from a distance, Pamela had a mixture of sadness and vindication. Jay was proving her correct once more after she had left him due to deceit and treachery. Meanwhile, Anna didn't think the rumors were true. She grinned in public next to her new husband. She sought answers in private. Jay disputed all of it. His words to Anna were, "She's just a friend," but he was betrayed by the expression in his eyes. Pamela and Anna were aware, and soon the entire world would be aware. There was no going back once the tabloids learned about it. Front pages were filled with screaming headlines. Jay, the double life of Emmanuel, seen once more. Behind Jay's secret, the woman smiles. Is Jay's true love being concealed by Anna? Pictures started to appear. Hazy pictures of Emma and Jay walking out of a cafe. They were sitting in the back of a car in a blurry photo. Specifically, one shot. At a table with candles lighted, Danning depicted Jay moving in close to Emma and placing his hand on hers. There was an unrelenting media frenzy. Reporters set up camp outside of Jay's house, followed him to airports, and even followed Emma to her place of employment. Every action they took was being watched. Every look is examined. The humiliation was too much for Anna to handle. Jay was being displayed as a wife in name only because she had saved him from financial catastrophe and paid off his $1 million debt. Behind her back, friends whispered. Was she unaware of who she was entering? Despite being unattached to Jay, Pamela was thrust back into the spotlight. Requests for interviews flooded in. Everyone was curious about her feelings, if she had anticipated this, whether she felt vindicated, but Pamela remained silent. Her once bruised pride served as a shield. Jay, though, refused to back down. He publicly denied the affair, claiming Emma was only a close friend and claiming the pictures were misconstrued moments. However, the more he denied, the more others thought otherwise. The public opinion court had rendered its decision. Jay Emmanuel was more than a man who had cheated on one spouse. He was a man who was devoted to Emma out of passion and to Anna out of wealth. And the storm was only getting started. Pamela Chavez was justified in her outburst. She may have posted cryptic comments online, written candid interviews, or appeared on television. She had endured the agony of Jay's treachery long before Anna or Emma had entered the picture, after all, and it had been made public. The news stories. Pamela, however, did not. Rather, she opted for quiet. There was a quiet that was more powerful than words. She was hurt, but stronger than ever, according to her close friends. She put all of her energy into starting over. She surrounded herself with those who genuinely loved her, went back to her passions, and concentrated on her profession. The media wouldn't let her alone, though. Reporters waited outside her flat. When she passed, they yelled questions. Do you feel vindicated, Pamela? Have you got anything to say to Jay? Do you think you could ever get him back? Pamela didn't respond. She merely nodded, smiled courteously, and continued. Her most potent remark came from that serene, dignified stillness. She admired Pamela's quiet strength while Jay's world went topsy-turvy. She turned into the epitome of grace, the lady who resisted being destroyed by treachery. Many also realized that Pamela was no longer the victim of the story as the issue gained more attention. The one who survived was her. The scandal for Jay, Emmanuel, was disastrous. The man who had formerly been revered for his refinement and charm was now being made fun of. Jokes, scathing criticism, and memes were all over social media. For days, hashtags such as #theater and #millionalarm were popular. It had a direct impact on his career. Business associates separated. Invitations to private parties stopped coming in. Sponsors discreetly withdrew, not wanting to be linked to his damaged reputation. He was no longer viewed by the general people as the entertaining celebrity who used to light up the room. Rather, they saw a guy characterized by reckless choices, treachery, and greed. Even with her wealth, Anna was unable to protect him from the consequences. She was made fun of by her own social circles for purchasing a husband who never showed her genuine affection. The very community she had hoped would be impressed turned its back on her, muttering behind closed doors about her stupidity. Meanwhile, Emma encountered criticism of her own. She was seen by many as the lady who had ruined 2 relationships. The other woman was her brand. Tabloids dragged her name through the muck, eager to make news. Jay was genuinely alone since he was torn between 2 ladies and $1 million debt that could only be paid off via sacrifice. At last, the barriers he had constructed through deceit and falsehoods were coming down. Nevertheless, Jay refused to concede defeat despite his reputation collapsing. He reasoned that he could still change the story. He might yet be able to convince himself and the rest of the world that he had not lost everything. But there was no denying the reality. The name of Jay Emmanuel was no longer a symbol of accomplishment. It had turned into a warning, a cautionary story about the consequences of the collision of betrayal, money, and love. Jay. Everyone had once been curious about Manuel. Charming, fashionable, and full of aspirations and promises. However, that image had vanished by now. The affair was only the beginning of the scandals. Those who had previously lent him money released more financial information. Documents uncovered by reporters demonstrated the extent of his debts prior to Anna's intervention. The headlines were more scathing. From $1 million in debt to $1 million in error. Jay. A man named Emmanuel sacrificed his love in order to preserve himself. Disgraced and resentful, Anna started to distance herself from the spotlight. Once rumored to be a bargain, their marriage now appeared to be more like a cage. According to friends, she became aloof and began to treat Jay more like a liability than a husband, something she regretted ever doing. Emma withdrew as well. The continual scrutiny of cameras destroyed the enthusiasm that had drove their covert affair. How it used to feel. Exciting now felt poisonous, suffocating under the scandal's weight. Jay found himself trapped. Pamela, Anna, and Emma, the very ladies who had characterized his recent years, had all disappeared in one way or another. His possibilities, his reputation, and his sense of control all vanished along with them. At last, the walls had fallen, and this time no one was left to help him. In a stealthy way, Pamela's star climbed as Jay's name fell. She never pursued retribution. She didn't boast. However, her lack of response and refusal to. She gained more respect than ever after being pulled into the mud. She was presented with opportunities, collaborations, initiatives, and interviews. People respected her fortitude and poise in the face of adversity. Pamela pieced her life back together. She became a living example of how your response to betrayal defines you rather than it defining you. Jay, however, turned into a warning story. His story appeared on podcasts about toxic love stories, articles about financial catastrophe, and murmurs at dinner parties. Avoid being like Jay. A silent warning to anyone who could be tempted to combine betrayal, money, and secrets. It was all gone for the man who had it all. Additionally, the broken woman regained her strength. Ultimately, the tale of Jay It's not simply about love lost in Emmanuel and Pamela Chavez. It's about decisions, the price of deceit. What happens when ambition trumps devotion, and when money takes precedence over love. Jay believed he could have everything. Emma's passion, Anna's fortune, and Pamela's commitment. However, he lost everything in an attempt to hold on to it. Pamela departed with honor. Anna walked resentfully away. Emma walked regretfully away. And Jay had nothing left but a scandal-tainted name. What can we learn from this tale, then? Because no secret is ever truly kept secret. Silence can be purchased with that money, but love cannot. And that reality always comes to the surface in the end. This has been Jay and Pamela's Undiscovered Story. A tale of scandal, treachery, and the high cost of unfulfilled promises. Additional update. According to sources, Jay and Pamela have already started the process of planning their child, which is another unexpected step in their path. However, because of their common genetic condition, fans are questioning if they will be able to conceive safely. Within their fan base, which is excited to watch the couple start a family but also concerned about the potential health concerns, this has caused both joy and anxiety. To make matters more dramatic, Jay has lately been seen acting a little too at ease with his handsome personal trainer. Fans think Pamela's jealousy was quite reasonable, and his light-hearted flirtation has not gone unnoticed. Jay's actions have drawn criticism from many, who claim that they were disrespectful to Pamela and put undue stress on their already shaky relationship. Health issues continue to play a significant role in their narrative. According to sources, Jay and Pamela's condition puts them at significant risk of fracturing their bones every time they have sexual relations. Fans are shocked by this surprising discovery, wondering how they handle their personal life in the face of such serious health issues. It emphasizes how they must always strike a balance between closeness, love, and health. Examining Jay and Pamela's life in their whole is necessary to fully comprehend them. The couple's tale is intricate and multi-layered, encompassing their personal history, current health issues, employment, and familial origins. Despite the difficulties and disputes, Jay and Pamela are still fighting for their partnership, resulting in their path being one of vulnerability, resiliency, and unquestionable human drama. I'll tell you all about it. Jay and Pamela have begun to plan for a child. Given their genetic condition, will they be able to conceive? The celebrities are Jay and Pamela. Following their appearances on the show, Pamela Chavez and Jay Emmanuel both rose to fame. They got married and went live with viewers while they looked for a new place to call home. Everyone was completely focused on their plots. Have they started preparing to start a family yet? Both Jay and Pamela suffer from the unusual genetic disorder known as third sort of osteogenesis imperfecta. This causes their bones to grow brittle. Brittle bone disease is another name for this ailment. They grew closer as a result of their common experience, and love blossomed. Jay and Pamela's bones are brittle and prone to breaking. Both of them depend on motorized wheelchairs because of their ailments. Their bones have already been harmed by walking. Many people are interested in them, especially if, in spite of their health problems, they intend to have more children. Furthermore, their condition may be inherited from one or both parents. Jay and Pamela ended their 5-year relationship. After a year of communicating online, Pamela made the decision to live with his parents. They have vowed to stick together in spite of their shared medical background. Jay's life expectancy was originally estimated by medical specialists to be less than 5 years. Furthermore, the doctors told Pamela that they would not be alive for more than a year. Despite all that was thrown at them, they continued. So far, around 400 bones have been broken. The couple is putting their health first while they look for a new house. Bone fractures can result from even the most basic tasks. Their only desires are to be together forever, healthy and content. Many people are interested in Jay and Pamela's capacity to start a family after their recent wedding. Collagen. A mutation in one of their 2 genes causes deficiency. Collagen is essential for the connective tissue that keeps the body together. Their bones are extremely fragile and brittle as a result. Bone fractures can result from even the most basic tasks, such as walking or even rolling over while they sleep. Patients with type 3 osteogenesis imperfection are thought to be medically capable of becoming pregnant. The woman's symptoms and illness stage will determine everything. She can conceive and carry children, though, based on that. If a couple has OI, their chances of having a kid are 50%. Both Jay and Pamela possess OI. According to Parade, couples frequently talk about having children. They have this conversation at least once per day. Their goal is to start a family, but they are taking their time. They define their family unit as they go through each step of the process. There is no exclusion of children. Pamela says they are taking their time since she understands how big the endeavor is. She frequently finds herself doing things that she knows she shouldn't, so eventually she is unsure. They were desperate for a family, Jay said. At the moment, he and Pamela have adopted a puppy named Cheddar. He accompanied them all the way down the aisle. Pamela dated Jay online for a year prior to moving in with Jay's parents. The couple is experimenting with motherhood. Fans of Jay and Pamela are unhappy because Jay is flirting with his attractive trainer. Pamela had good reason to be envious. The admirer of Jay and Pamela, Bass joined Pamela Chavez in her battle, which was motivated by envy. When her fiancé, Jay, lied to her, they defended her. Despite the fact that the couple is doing well on their own TLC show, there is something appealing about him. When Jay worked out at the gym in the most recent episode, Pamela was both pleased with him and upset with him. Pamela is a strong gay woman, whereas Jay, a trans man, radiates confidence. They are a formidable couple for reasons that are beyond explanation. Given that they both experienced comparable difficulties navigating life from an early age, they had a well-known relationship. An online community for people with impairments introduced them. What's the fan buzz about Pamela and Jay? What made them take this action? Jay's friend Pamela and Jay are getting married soon. The new episode is going viral on the internet because of TLC's positive message. The contented couple appeared to be getting ready for their special day. They went to a pet store because their favorite dog, Cheddar, required a unique item. Upon entering the supply store, Pamela, a wonderful collection of exquisite animal costumes caught her attention. To Pamela's amazement, Cheddar selected one of 2 floral outfits while wearing a cheerful look. She sprung to her feet and started walking her small lapdog. Jay was apprehensive about making a rash purchase, but he was persuaded by Cheddar's adorable appearance. He acknowledged in a private confessional that she had purchased inexpensive bow ties for him from an online vendor. In the comment area, viewers were polarized following TLC's publication of a preview of the next performance by Jay and Pamela. While some online users reacted in support of Pamela, others flocked to Jay's defense. Jay worked out with a gorgeous female trainer in the video, and he posted a selfie to Instagram with her. When Pamela questioned Jay about his motivations for attending the gym, which had nothing to do with fitness, Jay burst out laughing. However, his supporters have started to interpret him as a hint that Pamela is starting to feel something for the female trainer. Video of Jay was just complimented on his level of fitness by his trainer. When they were working out, she asked if he felt stronger. One of her fans responded, so maybe she did have something to worry about. Jade, as usual, offered support, saying, "Oh yeah, I might be able to lift you up after this." Another fan added that Pamela was 100% right about Jay, and that the fans should all apologize to her. Because of a challenging, the reality star's ex-boyfriend left her for her best friend, so she couldn't get over Jay's quirky personality. She fears making the same error again. Some, on the other hand, insisted that they would never express regret to Pamela since they accepted her jealousy. They saw her actions as moral. Finally, a joke about the TLC star removing the batteries from his electric wheelchair was made. Many of Jay's supporters weren't happy with his flirting with his trainer. Every time Jay and Pamela come close, they run the risk of fracturing their bones. TLC has continuously produced exceptional achievements when it comes to showcasing people from all backgrounds and addressing a broad range of illnesses. As a result, Jay and Pamela have gained popularity among the audience. The two most recent additions to the TLC family are these two. Both of them suffer from osteogenesis imperfect type 3, which causes brittle bones. Consequently, even the most fundamental activities need the pair to be very careful. Therefore, this aspect of Jay and Pamela's lives, particularly when tensions increase, will be the center of their new show. In the most recent episode, they talked about other risks of living with their sickness. What did they think about it, then? Jay and Pamela's first appearance on the show touched everyone. They talked about how, despite their physicians' predictions that they would only live for 5 years, they overcame the odds and have been enjoying life ever since. In the most recent episode, the pair went grocery shopping. Their physical restrictions and diminutive stature require them to always sit in their motorized wheelchair. They developed a list of all the ways they may injure themselves in the event of an accident when they were out grocery shopping together. They started off by complaining about how expensive their motorized wheelchairs were. In addition, they could crash and break bones if they make contact. Consequently, to use caution, they must let the other person know before withdrawing after a hug. As mentioned above, Jay and Pamela are the most recent pair to be featured on TLC. Everyone is in awe of their charming and likable traits. As they try to discover more about these uncommon bone illnesses and get to know them better, the audience is having a great time. Both are good. The couple has been together for 5 years and is already engaged. The new focus is on how they are preparing for their wedding season. After all, the event in question is about to happen. A producer from a recent episode was curious about how they met. Jay, of all people, took the initiative in responding. He joked that it's the least of their worries, despite the fact that it's a massive gamble and they should be careful. In an attempt to be modest, Pamela dismissed it with a laugh and clarified that although they take medicine for their back discomfort whenever it strikes, it doesn't get any better. The source was the video's comment area. The audience laughed a lot. As long as the pair remained safe and healthy, fans were delighted for them. They remarked the couple knows how to set priorities and commended their enthusiasm. Everything you need to know about Jay and Pamela's lives, backgrounds, careers, health conditions, and history. Jay and Pamela are the most recent pair to be featured on TLC. Because of their endearing bond, people simply cannot get enough of their unique adventure. They got their own show, which will be based on their inspirational and upbeat tale of romance, hardships, and life-changing experiences. As the first transman of color and disabled person on TLC, Jay sets a new standard. He is not ashamed to be gay, and the audience loves him for who he is. The rookie star has a very uncommon form of bone fragility disease, as does his partner Pamela. Nevertheless, as a sign of their love for one another, the pair surmounted these challenges and carried on leading lavish lives. They've come this far to inform you then. The narrative of their health conditions, ups and downs. Are you interested in learning more? Discover the specifics of the novice couple's lives by reading on. Despite being recent additions to the TLC family, Jay and Pamela have already won over their fans. Their unique bond and remarkable chemistry make them stand out. The inexperienced couple revealed that they have a rare medical condition that prevents them from walking. Due to their shared condition of osteogenesis imperfect type 3 OJ. And wherever feasible, Pamela must use motorized transportation. This disease is lifelong and results in abnormal bone development. Another name for it is brittle bone disease. People who have the syndrome frequently suffer from bone fractures. The doctors came to the conclusion that Jay and Pamela would not live past their early years as a result of this. Still, they were bound to fall in love. The 28-year-old and his 30-year-old partner are planning a wedding. Their unorthodox romance benefited Jay and Pamela becomes well known. The former talked candidly about his sexual orientation in the first episode.